The doers are the major thinkers. The people that really create the things that change this industry are both the thinker-doer in one person. And if we really go back and we examine, did Leonardo have a guy off to the side that was thinking 5 years out in the future what he would paint or the technology he would use to paint it? Of course not. Leonardo was the artist, but he also mixed all his own paints. He also was a fairly good chemist, knew about pigments, knew about human anatomy, and combining all of those skills together, the art and the science, the thinking and the doing, was what resulted in the exceptional result. And there is no difference in our industry. The people that have really made the contributions have been the thinkers and the doers. And when you a lot of people, of course, it's very easy to take credit for the thinking. The doing is more concrete, but it's very easy for somebody to say, oh, I thought of this 3 years ago. But usually when you dig a little deeper, you find that the people that really did it were also the people that really worked through the hard intellectual problems as well.
Okay. How you guys doing? I'm Daris D. McKinney. I'm your host of Individual Perspective Podcast, and I just wanted to kind of give a insight to thinking, as I come into my own and what I built and the work I've been doing for the last 6 years, pretty hardcore. I come to find out that the bigger picture and the big stuff and the actual doing of things, you're on your own pretty much on that. And if you're lucky enough to have a few people around you, like for me, I've watched a lot of people in the city and everything, and local filmmakers, because I'm a filmmaker, and I'll see local filmmakers. They pretty much have a really good team and a good squad of people to kind of help them kind of get through what they need to get through and everything like that. And the financial support system is pretty good too. But sometimes, you have to power through all that if that's not an option for you. Most of the time, if you're not in the standard or can't compete in the standard, this industry kind of shames you to kind of just don't even try. Just admit defeat and go cower away. You know what I mean? But I always say that that's where you know that you're not even supposed to be doing it, or you don't even got the grit or the wit to kind of see yourself through it. You know what I mean? See, one of the worst things that everybody that kind of was around me, they didn't understand that at a certain age, you don't allow error. Error happens to all of us, mistakes, issues that may pop up and everything that may devalue the actual mission and the goal that you're trying to get accomplished. It'll pop up on everybody. You know what I mean? So none of us are special or anything. It's just how easy do you get through the difficulties? What's the actual support system to get through the trials and tribulations? You know what I'm saying? And most people find out when it's too late or unexpectedly that the trials and tribulations is they're on their own. For me, I always say, as a filmmaker and the things that I've seen, I didn't want to do a film in Michigan. It's just not, the mindset is not there for doing really good film. The easy stuff, doing throwing spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks and everything. It's easy to do that. That's why so many people around the country are doing these I call them wham bam thank you ma'am type of films that you just slap on Tubi and everything like that. It's pretty easy to do it because it takes no extra grit and focus and intelligence and all that is just literally enough to sit down, write a script, or somebody writes a script, and then you kind of come together, and people don't really have to even do their lines exceptionally well. You could just get them to do their lines, get a couple shots on it, couple angles on it, put it together with some crappy inner city type of local musicians, music that sticks out like a sore thumb because it doesn't sound radio friendly, or it doesn't sound not radio friendly, but more like musical, so it sticks out like a sore thumb as a wannabe rapper, a wannabe singer, a wannabe, and then everybody kind of collage together as wannabe in the thing. The great thing about this is, and I do one thing I can say about my local market and even just Tubi, is that it shows you that you don't have to do the abundance of what it takes to make a good film. You can make something pretty decent, it's almost like a school project type of thing, or more, let's say, a glorified school project. You get what I'm saying? Because now you got clubs and houses and cars and a couple gun play on there, and you got sexualized situation that people put themselves into. So it's a little bit of higher brow than doing a school project, but the look of it and the feel of it and the command of it is pretty much like a person coming out of school, just a very novice in a way that we make film in comparison to how the industry does. So that's my knowledge, and I'm pretty good at what needs to be done to make sure that you pass even the markers of the networks and the platforms and stuff like that, and you get just a little bit over just the mundane ghetto stuff, and you could kind of put yourself in a better competitive range. That's what I offer. That's what I bring to the table when making film. So that's all I did. That's all illogical point of view, unless you can get out there and do it. You know what I mean? So for me, I went out in the last 6 years, and I kind of worked real hard and went through trials and errors and difficulty situations to see a few movies to the finish line and everything like that, and as I'm preparing myself to release these films, I am looking at people that spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on 2 hours and 40 minutes and broke them up into multiple episodes, people that done movies and stuff like that. And then when you watch the movies and you're kind of seeing like, wow, I'm glad I didn't just kind of shoot the things and just throw them right onto the streaming platform. I'm glad I took a step back and said, okay, when you're not fighting for your life and fighting for your roof over your head and everything, you need to go in there and really give a good presentation to this, because if you film a film pretty good, it's about the presentation now. It's about the passion and love that you allow yourself to give that film to play, and that can be the difference between something that looks presentable or something that's like, wow, I could come back in 10 years and watch that again. I could come back in a couple years and watch that again. I could sit down and watch that again in the same sitting, because it's got so much elements to it that I want to dig a little bit more into it. You kind of want that. It's just how we look at movies on HBO and Netflix and theaters and stuff like that. We watch a movie, then it appeals to us, and we may have missed something because we was enjoying something else about the movie. Excuse me. And you'll find that you're like, you know what? Let me watch that again. That's what you want. You want people to kind of not look at it as a charitable watch. You want them to look at your film especially when you're independent and you're local and stuff like that, you want people to watch your film as interest. They're in the world. They're trying to grasp the message and everything like that. And you want all that to be, you know, what my father would call idiot proof. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you want to give something that's took some work to get done. You know what I mean? In the technical aspect of it, you could see that. So when I listened to this message from Steve Jobs, which I always listen to his messages and allow myself to listen to him and everything, because he is, like I said, he's like one of the top build people of our society that was purposeful. And a lot of the time that he was moving, it would have been a complete loss without him. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have, even Microsoft wouldn't be Microsoft how it is without Steve Jobs. So that's the truth of the matter. I know that's a controversial thing, but I'll leave it there. Save that for another episode. You know, but his message of doers are the major thinkers. That's true, because you got to know how to get it done. You got to know the end game. How do we get from writing it all the way to the last export of the film into the video file? How do you all the things that's going to happen, that's going to pop up, that's going to be disastrous and totally earth-shattering and make you want to give up, all the things that's in between writing it and exporting the last media file, all the things in between, you got to have answers for. You're not gonna be able to just skip over things. I say if you got the money, then you'll have like then you can knock it out within not needing time. You know what I mean? If you got the money, you can execute it on, because you could put more bodies on it. You could kind of delegate certain things to people and oversee that and everything like that. You could have a good, well-oiled organization and structure to get it done. But if you ain't got the money, then you need the time. And that time, you don't know where it's going to take you. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what it is and everything. And for me, I know what the final film is because I have the footage. I have pretty much the substance. What makes it even possible, I already did that. I knocked that out. I got it. So now to see it to the final video export, that is the journey you take. In time without money is the only thing that solves some of the ridiculous things that should never get past the edit. You know what I mean? So that's how my brain works, and I found that my thought process was more right than it was wrong. I have people that, you know, yeah, they want to see the films, they want to do all that, but for me, it's about, I don't really make movies for the actors that's in the movie. I don't really make it for the people that's around me trying to help me make the movie and everything like that. I make it for the millions of people out there that's going to come across it in the release of it to the next couple years. And they got to be attracted to that thumbnail. They got to be attracted to that trailer. They got to be attracted to the look of it, the textures of it, the colors, the sound, and stuff like that. I make it for them because they're the ones who's going to make it have longevity and value in society. So I would never put the standard of releasing a film in my immediate circle. They're irrelevant. They don't even understand what the big picture is, and they don't really care about it. They're just, I always call it self-gratification. That's all good. But what if you're never going to be able to make a movie again because everybody's too broke? Too many people too broke. You know, everybody is like, they scratching and they're barely keeping up with this financial stability of their own personal life. And the movie that you guys just made, you really need to make it attractive to the most people that come in contact with it. And the only way you could do that is, one, you had to be really, really smart while you were filming it. because that makes it where it is absolutely possible. The probable outcome that it will be of value for broad spectrum of people will be even easier. But if you minimize that and you did only the best you could or what you could have done, or if you rushed it, then it's gonna just, you only got what you got, and you got to make that work. And then you got to see what society do with that. And for me, we've done that for like 20 years now. We're About It from Master P, there's a few movies out there that's just like really low end, bad acting, bad settings, all that stuff like that. And it's not something that we search for like we search for a Godfather or a Scarface or even like a Training Day or Boys in the Hood or Men's Society or Friday. It's even, no matter how old certain movies are, you still kind of go back and watch it sooner or later. You're not the only one that's doing it. You're not special. It's nothing special about you going to watch an old movie, going to watch Martin, the old Martin TV show, or you're nothing special about you. There's millions of people that's doing the same thing you're doing. And it's a certain kind of check that you got to put on any media that allows for that. Somewhere down the road, that repeat watch, that revisiting, that making it part of their culture. And that's how I look at when I have the opportunity to do a film. It's a dream. You got 8 billion people on the planet. And if you're lucky, maybe 1 million people will ever come across a TV show, a commercial, a movie, a stand-up comedy show, a music video, being an artist, doing artwork, graphic design, media, doing anything, even podcasting and stuff like that. You maybe have 1 million people worldwide that will be efficient in what we do. So you're not supposed to be just kind of doing movies and just, it's like slanging a dime bag of weed or something. It's just, that's okay, but I knew that I needed to give it my all. So I did 2 movies that are really, really, really aggressive and big thinking. And the other ones are really good. They're very ambitious. I would say about 5 of my films, I would say that they're extremely balls to the wall ambition, and to even attempt to do it, and even try to attempt to even allow yourself to kind of come out of the basic stuff that will be easy to accomplish and easy to get through the process. And for me to go out that, I did a little disservice to myself because I made it that much harder to get it done, because it's graphics, special effects, sound effects, all this stuff that you literally got to make from scratch and compile different things. And then you got to make sure that it plays very professional industry standard, that it will be a cult following to it, that you can grow that cult following whenever it's on the platforms. Because obviously if you're going on Tubi and Amazon Prime and Peacock and Pluto and Freevee and all that stuff like that, they're doing the work of just making your image pop up randomly through the situations. And then obviously you're telling your family, friends, the actors, they're taking their family, friends, and the community that they have. And then you have your community, and then networking connections that you have. They're kind of seeing the actual product, like they're going to watch the film too. So in that situation, you want to be able to capitalize off of that. And it's easier when you got enjoyable thumbnails. It's easier when you got a good looking film and it sounds good and it's a movie experience for the viewers, no matter how close to you they are. Because family and friends, they don't believe in you like you do, because it's hard for them to look at you doing what you do or who you are, and then this work that you're doing that's kind of, for me, it's not a lot of money around it. So that means I have to put my private attention to it tenfold. So I don't talk about it. I'm just doing. I'm just filming. I'm just editing. I'm just creating. I'm just doing whatever I'm doing. I don't really have time to kind of vet it around my circle. I'll do that once I get to a certain part where I feel like, okay, yes, no matter which direction this goes, if I need to retract myself and go do a couple more things or something like that, it's pretty much where it's going into into end results. You know what I mean? So I say that because the doers are the thinkers. The thinkers part, and how you know if you're a thinker is, do you understand what it takes from 0 to 100? Do you understand what it takes? Do you understand? Do you got answers for it? If you don't have assistance on it, if you don't have a support system, if you don't have what it takes to kind of like fluidly get that done, do you have answers to even overcome that? Secondary things that you should do to even overcome that? And that's what a thinker does. A thinker knows how it's going to get done. They pretty much knows how it's going to get done. They kind of seen the 10 steps ahead of them. They kind of understand the trials and tribulations and the drama that surrounds it and everything like that. And they kind of know, okay, no matter what, this is how we're going to get to the finish line. Because for me, I found even for me to get to the finish line, tragedy stuff happened. Really, really, really bad stuff happened. And I had to not let it bring me down, and I didn't get into the depression where I didn't just keep getting on that computer, keep grabbing that camera, find a way to solve this issue, find a way to get through this part, because whatever's going on in the surrounding of your life and everything, you gotta get this movie done. You gotta see this movie through. You gotta find the solutions to it, because the greatest thing is you did the movie. You got it. So now you just gotta present it and get through the presentation part and how you want to construct the presentation and finalizing and everything like that. But yes, I'm not gonna lie to you, doing is always hard because it's easy to give up. Like for me, I could never be part of a group of people where we're doing a movie and there's not enough money, so we got to stop the actors from coming. We got to stop the production. And then I did that on one film, and I ended up doing it all over again from scratch. Because in Michigan, you got to do the movie when you're doing it. People are not going to see the process of, okay, hey, this situation is going on, continuity is breaking, the weather's changing too much, and it's messing up the different images that we had in the previous shots or the previous time that we were in this scene, or the scene that connects to this scene. It looks a little different, so the continuity is broken, and we're gonna have to wait until next year to pick this back up so it can have some continuity to it, or we gotta wait until this certain time of spring before it breaks so we can have some kind of continuity to it. They're not gonna do it. They'll break down. They don't get it. They don't understand pickup shots. They don't understand reshoots. They don't understand none of that stuff. It's very, very like probably now, since they dealing with me, they understand it a whole lot more, because I fight for my pickup shots. I fight for my reshoots. I'll keep hitting something until I can say, hey, that's pretty much what it was on the script and what we could do under the financial constraint that we're to have. I could live with that. And that's when I stop. You get what I'm saying? I think doing a film is literally, I think the industry does have it right. It's about a couple years But that's if you got a lot of money behind you, you know what I mean? Or a year or so if you got a lot of money behind you. If you're a low budget person and you did a really, really good movie, yeah, you're going into like a good 6 months to a year. That could be, I could see that, you know. But I would tell people don't go under a year, because you can. It's easy for us to do that. There's no problem for us to do that, but it could have been a better edit. It could have been a better execution of the takes that you used. It could have been a better process if you didn't rush to self-gratification stuff. So I say this because doers are the thinkers. You get what I'm saying? Doers are definitely the major thinkers. And maybe other people involved, but they garbage compared to the doer and the thinker. You know what I mean? I got to know how to use people around me in order to get certain things done. Otherwise, you start to adopt their way of what they think is important, how much they think it costs. And it's like, you can't really do that. You got to go to the person that's doing it, and you have to navigate with them, and even to have the conversation, the bullheaded conversation. I always say I love to have executive producers, but they're rare, and everybody that thought they was executive producer, they really wasn't. You get what I'm saying? So I give them titles that they really wasn't, but at the same time, that's the game that you play when you're doing low budget stuff, because even the minuscule help that you get is you almost gotta to have some kind of integrity and respect to just give the people some kind of credit that they're looking for, but at the same time be smart about it. Make sure your paperwork is right and all that stuff like that. You're not signing documents to give away too much to irrelevant people. You know what I mean? Why turn over something that's worth $600 to $1.5 million and all the person did is come to the table with 15 grand or 27,000 or something like that, but you needed 50, you needed 84,000, you get what I'm saying? You needed 30, you know what I mean? And it's just like, because now you have to substitute what you don't got, you know what I mean? And that always comes to me. I end up having to do the hundreds of thousands of dollars stuff, the $30,000, the $50,000. So the things that make it where it has a value to the public, I end up having to kind of do that, take on that burden and that finance myself. So, and that's why you got to pay attention to what you do in the long run. So I pay attention to, I'm always in the long run in the beginning. And I'm never really dealing with 5 months down the road, or a year, or 2 years, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 6 years down the road, and then I'm not understanding the position I'm in. I understand the position I'm in. That's why I hold the ownership of everything. That's why I'm the owner. I'm the dominant, because I have to see the long run, and you can't be kind of like doing so much desperation. Oh, I want to do a movie. I want to get a movie done. And you give up your life and everything up front. That's stupid. That's not smart. You know what I mean? It's very rare to come across people where it's an even contribution. It's very rare. Very rare. Well, in my world, it's very rare, because everybody got they trying to hustle you, and they're trying to manipulate their power over you, but you got to somehow use their thought process against them. And that's what I do. I know it sounds crazy, but when you're coming from the inner city and you're coming from the local filmmaking and stuff like that, and you're dealing with the dope boys and the crazy strip club owners, they kind of going into the film business and all that stuff like that. And then you got this versus attitude where it's so weird, because in local filmmaking, you have what Tracy Morgan called the Black Crusaders, you know what I mean? Where you have local people that are like new producers, new distributors, and all that stuff like that. They're trying to make it where you can't do a movie. You can't use an actor. You can't. It's certain kind of parameters that they put on the standards of what's going on around you that before you can even make a movie, you can't even leave your house without $50,000. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make the movie. So I know that was the game. So I found ways to kind of, own everything and just say, hey, I take my money when I make money off of it. You know what I mean? Because if I got to have 30 grand, the actors got to get paid, then you got to feed people, it's just like, I'll say 99% of everybody that's invested in movies locally, it's rare for them to come to the table the right way with $50,000 to $70,000, $50,000 to $80,000. Because I think if you're doing a movie, even at the lowest end, you need to somewhat have a cushion of 80 grand. Budget it for maybe 30 grand or something, or 50 grand, but you got to have a cushion for 80 grand. And that lets you know that no matter what, you get the movie done, it's professional, and all the things that could have been captured or got under the tools and the structure that you guys living in and environment you're living in and stuff, you got it. But that's a rarity. For me, it was a rarity. But at the same time, my end results is that budget. So no matter what, I'm going to do what it takes to make my films look that way. Look like this, like I did The Abundance. And then if you decide to be stupid enough to not bring no money to the table and like, I don't want to be the owner of everything, but I'm not gonna give up ownership for nickels and dimes. I'm not gonna do that. That's ridiculous. So doing this, I know I'm just talking about this it's almost like coming on to my podcast and doing a kind of a therapy session of just this mindset of doers are the major thinkers. That is so important. And I think no matter how terrible things get or complicated things get, you got it done. That's such an amazing thing. You got to try to keep your mind and kind of try to keep your health and try to figure it out the best you can in order for you to see it through and you can live and enjoy the end results of your work. But I do see that it's I do enjoy that I got it done. You know what I mean? I seen it through. I didn't have to worry about any exterior factors. I probably should have. My household, my relationships, all that stuff. I probably should have thought about how it was impacting people around me, my decisions and my risk factors that I did for the last 6 years. But I told myself in 2018 I was going to give myself 10 years. 10 years to really do me. Do my purpose, how great and intelligent and high functional I am in the film industry. I was doing ad work, commercials, little music videos, and certain things like that. I was doing stuff like that. That was it was good, but a lot of me was dormant. I was working a 9-to-5 job, paying the bills, doing everything like that. It was good, but a lot of me was dormant. And I would have hated to be on my deathbed and lived 40, 50, 60 years on Earth, and then I didn't even take 10 years to fully use my ability and my intelligence and my intellect to what I feel that I'm valuable. So writing. So for me, it's writing. It's computer design. I'm a great graphic designer. I'm a great web builder. I build apps. I build people's Netflix for them. You get what I'm saying? I don't post it on my social media, but I've done it. My portfolio is beautiful. Trust me. And I've done movies, all shapes and sizes, trials and errors, all the things that what it takes to be a really, really industry great filmmaker. I could walk onto a Warner Brothers, Max, Disney set, and I'm not intimidated by none of that stuff. No camera crew, no construction crew, no makeup artists, no actors. I'm really not impressed. It's about the goal. It's about getting the job done. And that's my efficiency of doing film. And that would have been terrible to go 10 years. I mean, to go through a whole life and not even take 10 years to say, do your thing, man. Do your thing. So I was supposed to do my first movie in 2022. But we kind of had some situations in 2018, so the first year I actually jumped in and did my own movie, and that was risky because I don't like how the actors are. The actors are awesome. It's the culture of making film that's in Detroit, so I didn't like that, but I jumped in it. You know, I found some phenomenal actors, some really, really good people, some good people that gave me a hell of a help when I needed it, and just work and productivity, you know what I mean? And so I don't regret any of that and stuff like that, but I knew it was gonna be hard because even the best of people here doing film and actors and everything, you're not as good as if you were an actor or a director or producer in Hollywood, in Atlanta, and Vancouver, and New York, and I would even say Louisiana, even Nevada now. If you be around people that do it like you, that love it like you, everything is effortless. Everything is accomplishable. Everything is looked at with a certain kind of magic to it, and aggressiveness and inspiration to it. But in Detroit, I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of actor you are or how good of an actor you are or how good some of the stuff that you do or how the abundance that you did it in. Producers, cameramans, directors, writers, and you're garbage compared to the right environment. The right environment is really, really. I've been there. I know how writers are in California. I know how writers are in the movie environment. I know how the actors are in the movie environment. I know how the cameramen are in the movie environment. That's why I say the stuff that came out of Detroit in the last 10 to 20 years, I can go get a camera crew and a staff from UCLA coming right out of college, and they would do some amazing stuff and wipe you off the planet. Your stuff will look like garbage, and you spent so much money on it. That's how that's not supposed to be done. When you make content, you're not supposed to be that. You're supposed to be able to train young people, give them instincts, give them valuation, and how the value of what you're doing should spark them to say, "Wow, you're doing some really interesting stuff," you know, and I can learn from you. So that's the kind of fight that I put into my films. I'm making sure that it's not like something simple, you know what I mean, or not even trying to not make it simple, but like do some work, make it a good presentation, write a good scenario, you know what I mean. And I could go on forever about this stuff, you know what I mean. But that's the doers. It's hard. It's a hard thing, and I'm telling you, I'm at the end of a very hardcore struggle to get what I've done over the last 6 years to the finish line, and I'm so glad to say I'm in a matter of months and days to start really pushing this stuff out to you guys. So I come on my podcast because I started podcasts in 2008, 2010. I used to put podcast episodes on my website, and people just play it in the actual website player. And then in 2015, I really wanted to cover the first election of Donald Trump, because I think people were really bad at putting it in a logical perspective. And so I actually went in and just started doing that. If you go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or SoundCloud, you'll see Individual Perspective Podcast, and you'll see stuff that I did in 2015, 2016, 2017. Additional to that, I had did a brother that I love so much. His name was Khalil Biddle. He passed, but we did a podcast in the pandemic called Life Choice, Health, and Wealth. And that was awesome too. So much episodes we did on that stuff. I still got 10 hours that I could release that never was released before he passed and everything. So that kind of stuff that's how long I've been doing podcasting. You know what I mean? Like I remember Apple came up with all this stuff. I was the first one that pioneered it. I was the first one that's doing it because I thought it was awesome. Awesome way of communicating. Podcast is an audio forum, so it was never meant to be with this video stuff and us trying to entice you guys with panels and different things like that. It's supposed to be like a actual audio recording, but it's okay if it's just what the audience wants. You gotta get the people what they want. You know what I mean? So I decided, I'm kind of through the most complication of making films and everything, and I'm in the editing process, and I take my time to make sure that it's a good presentation. And if I get a little hour or 2 or 3 or something to go do a podcast or something like that, I'll come on and kind of separate myself. Sometimes you got to walk away from something that you're creating or you're designing to come back with it with fresh eyes and aggressiveness to it. So sometimes I'll do a podcast and talk to you guys about what's going on in my mind, my life, my perspective on things, my individual perspective. Like I said, the individual perspective is when your truth is the objective truth, meaning that when what's in your head, how you communicate, what you communicate to others is the truth. Because you vetted yourself, you vetted your mama, your daddy, your siblings, your community, your society, even your favorite heroes and everything. You do not allow something to take prominence inside your head. You are the truth, and what you communicate is the truth. And if it gets vetted, if somebody tries to prove you wrong, they're going to find out that you're substantially accurate on what you're communicating and your philosophy and everything like that. That's what individual perspective is, and that's what I tried to communicate on Individual Perspective Podcast. So I came on here to kind of take this, I'll play it again, this quote, and understanding that Steve Jobs said when he was in his younger years, because I still think it's so prominent right now in the Doers and Thinkers. And I even had to come to understand that it is a sacrifice being a doer and thinker, just like how Steve Jobs was. It's hard on you. It's hard on you. It can tear you up and mess up your physicality and your health and everything, because somebody got to see it through, and that's a lot of stress to carry and walk around with. But I'd rather be a doer than a pontificator. I'd rather be a doer than a pontificator. And a doer are the thinkers. We know how to see it through. We know how to, from 0 to 100, we know how to see it through. And I don't do pontificating. I don't do that. I don't do ideas. A movie idea, something that comes to my head, I immediately put into action. I physically write it down. Then I start actually physically making that idea come into physicality. And where it's actually a substance, it's actually a product, or at least a asset now. And that's what I did with my movies. I never really kept the idea that I had in my head. It just kept it, maybe somewhere down the road I'll do that. Most of the ideas, I kind of thought of it. I stopped everything, write that down, do the script, do what I got to do to get the people together, get the cast, get the locations, equipment, knock it on out. You know what I mean? So that's what I've done. I try to move past thinking. And it's hard. It's not easy, because I just didn't know about that people give up in the midst of working. And if somebody fall off, my producers, my executive producers, my actors, if they start to fall off in the process of making it, I gotta know when they're gonna fall off, and I gotta say, hey, let me get this done before they do that. So you gotta almost calculate the things people say to you, the undertones, the subliminal messages that they're trying to give off. But the good thing about human beings is they're gonna pretty much communicate what they're about to do at any given time. They're gonna communicate what they're about to do at any given time. You just gotta be out of your own ego. You gotta be not full of shit that you could be so open to hear it. It ain't about you. It ain't about how people feel or treat you or anything like that. You gotta know when these people are about to become weak, when they're about to sabotage what you're doing, and you have to be open to that. And for me, I'm really good at kind of understanding that and feeling it and hearing it, and I make my moves before they really crash out, and then I execute. And what I'm telling you guys, I understand it sounds like I'm an egomaniac. I'm not. This method has worked 5 to 7 times for me. 5 to 7 times through the last 6 years. To do one movie for a person that don't have no financial support, that has to work a 9 to 5 and get it done, it would take you 6 years in order to make one decent low budget film. 6 years. I got 5 to 7 movies done in that 6-year time span. Equipment, all this stuff. I've done everything. I don't have to ask other production people to help me make a movie. I got my own equipment. I'm not talking about the standards from Netflix all the way to the ghettos of the ghettos. It's nothing I can knock out. I got it all. Most of the stuff I see come out of the local independent stuff, you could have done it with your iPhone. Yeah, you're going to have to pick which lens to use and make sure it's lit enough so it can kind of not need the actual the sensor strength of a bigger sensor that could capture low light scenarios and give you enough in grayish areas, or what they call dynamic range. You can use an iPhone to get pretty good. If you light pretty decently, and the iPhone is challenging even that. You probably don't even need as much light as you thought you're gonna need. But I always say, don't allow your iPhone to do. Don't let the computer decide the exposure. Keep it manual. If it doesn't look like it naturally, you need to put more light to it. You get what I'm saying? So I know I'm giving away some nuggets, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of come on and kind of give you my idea of being a doer and a thinker, improving my perspective on making films and where I come from, and taking this quote and put myself into the scenario to prove to you that I do have a complete understanding of what he's talking about with this situation. So I'll play it again and then we'll end this.
The doers are the major thinkers. The people that really create the things that change this industry are both the thinker-doer in one person. And if we really go back and we examine, did Leonardo have a guy off to the side that was thinking 5 years out in the future what he would paint or the technology he would use to paint it? Of course not. Leonardo was the artist, but he also mixed all his own paints. He also was a fairly good chemist, knew about pigments, knew about human anatomy, and combining all of those skills together, the art and the science, the thinking and the doing, was what resulted in the exceptional result. And there is no difference in our industry. The people that have really made the contributions have been the thinkers and the doers. And when you a lot of people, of course, it's very easy to take credit for the thinking. The doing is more concrete, but it's very easy for somebody to say, oh, I thought of this 3 years ago. But usually when you dig a little deeper, you find that the people that really did it were also the people that really worked through the hard intellectual problems as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's easy to just say, like, hey, I got this idea, let's go do this, let's do this. Oh yeah, that's a great idea, let's go, yeah, let's do that. Who's gonna write the script? Who's going to make that the script is actually playable and is structural to a good story? Beginning, climax, and end. Who's doing that? Okay. Then now who's going to make sure that the visualization of the film sticks to that, and the production sticks to that, and the execution of the dialogue and the characters and everything is to what was imagined in the script? Who's going to do that? So obviously the greatest thing about life is you get like writers and directors come together, write it and everything together, and they kind of see it through. But locally, for me, I had to be the person that came up with the idea, the person that wrote it, the person that cast it, the person that pretty much had the decision making on what was the locations that was used and all that, and the visualization of it all, the cinematography. I done it, you know what I mean? Sometimes gaffering it, lighting it and everything, and making sure that the audio is kind of seen through, you know, doing the capturing and the dropping and archiving of it, then the edit, then the graphics, then the audio ADR mixing to it, and the B-roll shots to it, the music decisions of it, the editing, the finalizing of it and everything, and the presentation, the marketing of it, the design of the artwork, all that stuff. I've done all of it. And I've done it for about 7 films now. So I'll add about 3 more. So total of 10 films for the last 6 years, that even for other clients that I've filmed and did the artwork and did all the stuff that they needed me to do to edit, filmed it, all the graphics and everything like that, the best scenario way that I could and everything. And I'll say I did a lot, so it's a lot, but the 7 films that I'm talking about, the 5 films that are immediate to me, those are my babies. Those are the things I've been really trying to get it to the finish line, because sometimes I want to get a little bit of couple other pickup shots on something, B-roll shots on something, pick up better music or do a better soundtrack or sound effects or sounds, what they call Foley work to it or something like that. I will see that it would be better if I gave a little extra to it to make sure that it plays really good for the human eye and the enjoyment of the people. So, like I said, the doer and the thinker, you know what I mean? So, thank you for
the people
joining me for this. Thank you for joining me for this Doers Are The Thinkers podcast. And just wanted to take you guys inside Daris D. McKinney's The Filmmaker's Head and give you an individual perspective podcast episode on me being a filmmaker and me applying being a doer and knowing that the doer part was all conceptual from my introduction into the thought process of what I was doing. And, you know, it's been a crazy 6 years where we're in the scuff of it now. I know I gave myself 10 years, but at the same time, I think I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm going to be able to kind of take a little bit more of a delegating approach, going a little bit further. But right now I'm closing out the hard part, and it's been brutal. So if you want to come in and you want to have a piece of everything we done, you can hit my email in the individual perspective podcast, and I think it's individual perspective at outlook.com. Give me an email, I'll contact you. But anyway, if you guys, we got a lot of stuff to do for our podcast. We're going to get back on it. This episode is just to get a philosophical thought process about business and accomplishing goals and mastering your dreams and going through the trials and tribulations of the goals that you set and everything like that. So that's what this episode was about. And I hope that it gave some kind of understanding to even things that you might be going through and scenarios that you might find yourself in, and working through complications and low vibrations that's around you, and you just push through and see it through. And I hope that I'm giving you something that's a philosophical mindset of things, okay? So click the like, click the follow to the channel, and if you guys don't mind, please hit that Cash App out, put $1, or PayPal also, put $1, $2. We have a big panel that we're trying to do for the election, and we're trying to do a actual 18 to 20 hour coverage of it. It was going to be details, going to have a few people I'm going to have here to debate with and communicate with as we see these numbers come in. And like I said, I need a little assistance, a little help and everything like that. So I would need you guys to subscribe, hit the follow, hit the like, hit the subscription, and then if you can, put whatever you can in the piggy bank. You get what I'm saying? And the Cash App and the PayPal. We're grateful for your time that you even watch us. And I'm doing my best to try to get this channel out as much as I can, to push it out and everything like that. That's why I keep hitting the episodes and everything like that. We got a lot of episodes that I have. I got a lot of stuff to talk about, but I'm just trying to construct it in time because I got to do conference calls to try to bring in new investors and stuff like that, and try to get extra people to come in and kind of seeing things to get to the finish line. And every company needs startup cash flow, and I done work without it. I done a ton of work and ton of purchasing things, and just took whatever I could and built the company and built the studio and built the production, did the filming and all that stuff, and did whatever dime I could put in, and I did it. But now it's time for us to have something professional and smooth operation, so we can see these things professionally through and give it to the people in the right structure and presentation it's supposed to be in. And I need to talk to investors and people to do that. So thanks for being in this Doers Are Thinkers podcast. I know that's a lot. I know I'm bloviating a lot. I'll see you guys on the next episode, Individual Perspective Podcast. My name is Daris D, McKinney, and I'll see you on the next one. Check you out.
Really create the things that change this industry are both the thinker-doer in